So, that thing about doing builds for Xenoverse 2 on PC? Yeah, that's not happening. Unlike the Xbox One version and presumably the PS4 version, for some reason opponents can fall out of combos really easily on PC, so it's really difficult to get some good footage for any potential build videos for extra characters. I'll probably do some mod showcases on PC at some point, but for now, the builds will have to remain exclusive on my Xbox One copy. With that out of the way, you're probably wondering why I have a male Earthling build when I had full slots on my Xbox One. Unfortunately, I had to nix one of my characters to make some room. Let's take a moment to mourn Dojan. There'll never be a Namekian like him. Okay, enough of the sob stories, let's get started with the new build, then we can do the next set for all my characters. So, much like what people expect from a male Earthling, this guy is a supreme Brawler type character, meaning he gets the most out of his basic attack chain, so I don't need to waste anything on trying to boost specific attack damage. That also means that he is one of the best characters to use on a bad connection next to my tanking Big Mac, since he doesn't have to worry about opponents falling out of supers or ultimate finishers. Now, as with all of my new builds for different races, let's start with stamina break combos. Male Earthlings have a wide range of great combos, so there aren't many scenarios where you can't reliably land a stamina break attack. The first one, which I call the kick up, is supremely easy. Just do 1 to 4 light attacks, 1 heavy attack, then the light stamina break. This is the bread and butter combo for this build, but if you want to be a bit more fluid and flashy with stamina breaks, I still have a few more to talk about. The next one that I dubbed the 1-2 is done with the heavy light combo and then the light stamina break. You can also connect the heavy stamina break with this combo, but in my experience, certain cast characters can fall out of it for some reason, but for the most part, you shouldn't have much trouble landing it. Also, this combo does not work when your opponent is caught in a juggle. The next combo is a tad harder to use since your timing needs to be absolutely on point, and there are only 2 scenarios in which you can use it. The pinwheel punch, as I call it, is done with the 5 light, 1 heavy combo, then immediately following up with a heavy stamina break. This can only work at either ground level or at the top of the map, and you also need to be lightning quick with that stamina break, otherwise your opponent will roll right out of it. The last combo, called the beatdown, is done with the 5 light 3 heavy combo, then using the heavy stamina break before the last hit lands. You'll need to wait a brief second before using the stamina break, since the last hit of the normal combo is longer than the stamina break attack, and using it too early will result in it missing. Now before we get to gear, attributes, and skills, these were the last few stamina breaks to talk about when it comes to the races in Xenoverse 2. Any further builds will be utilizing the same combos, so at most, in future videos, I'll just provide a brief refresher of the combos instead of going in depth with them. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on with the gear. The outfit for this preset is comprised of Android 14's top and gloves, which can be obtained from PQ 104 Vados the Talent Scout, Android 13's pants from PQ 105 Shampa's Hellish Holiday, the Wild Rider boots, which you can get by talking to Kofi, who hangs around by the stairs leading up to the Time Nest, and Tapion's sword, which is purchasable from the TP Metal Shop. The Super Soul that I use, which is also purchasable from the TP Metal Shop, is Now It's My Turn. With this Super Soul, landing a stamina break attack will cause that stamina break to last longer, but it does not trigger if you break through their guard the normal way. This build relies on longer and more complicated combo chains, so leaving someone in a stamina broken state is crucial to getting the most out of my different combos. The QQ Bang, which was crafted from Goku's tracksuit and the pilot suit, gives +5 in ki, stamina, and basic attacks, and -5, 3, and 1 in health, strike supers, and ki blast supers, which is perfect for a male Earthling who is already extremely proficient with basic attacks. Speaking of proficiency, let's get to the attributes. Next to my Savage Queen, Purest Evil Majin, and Tanking Big Mac, the attribute distribution is fairly simple. The majority of my points were split between stamina and basic attacks at 125 each, and the rest went into health. Not worrying about how strong I'm making my other skills, this setup grants me more freedom than ever to make the skill set as varied as possible. While we're on that topic, let me give you a brief overview of the skills. The first of which is the classic Shining Slash, which you get from PQ38 Power Teams. This move is like instant transmission in that fully charging it instantly teleports you at your opponent, but it also gives them a good slice. Using a fully charged version of the Shining Slash will also allow you to immediately cancel into any basic attack, stamina break, or throw. I also found out that you can use any super or ultimate if you move slightly in any direction immediately after the slice. This skill will mainly be used to either open up a combo or link a finisher. The second super in this build is Earth Splitting Gallican, which you get from PQ11 Burst Open and Mix. Essentially Vegeta's version of Kaioken Kamehameha, this beam super can be comboed into pretty much any of the male Earthling combos, as well as the knockback attack. In this build, it's mainly used to top off a basic attack combo if I don't have enough ki for an ultimate. Next up is Gravity Impact, which you get by training with Cell. As mentioned in my adorable power build, Gravity Impact is a super powerful Ki Blast cannon, launching your opponent a substantial distance away and allowing you enough time to activate many different supers or ultimates. This is the primary setup skill for Shining Slash when it's used as a finisher link, but it can also be followed up with Earth Splitting Gallic Gun. The last super is the only defensive skill on this build, Burst Rush. This can be obtained from PQ51, Great Saiyaman is here. Its basic use is pretty self-explanatory, but if you do land Burst Rush, you can follow up with Earth Splitting Gallic Gun at any distance above the ground, Gravity Impact if you're close enough to the ground, and even a Stamina Break attack if you land extremely close to the ground. However, the only map that I can reliably do this is the World Tournament map. On with my ultimates. I'm going to start with the second ultimate, and you'll understand why in a second. The second ultimate is Meteor Burst, which you gain through training with Turles. Despite being pretty limited on where you can successfully land the move, it's still one of the strongest ultimates in the game. Its main purpose for this build is to end a match in the most brutal way possible, but in case your opponent happens to survive, then we have the second ultimate, Blue Hurricane. What? Someone actually uses this move? Believe it or not, this move can be comboed into after Meteor Burst. There were dozens of other moves I could combo from Meteor Burst, but I chose Blue Hurricane just because I wanted to be different. You can get Blue Hurricane from Expert Mission 15 Extreme Malice. Good fucking luck. There's not really any other use for the move, so let's go ahead and start talking about the transformation and escape move. My escape move for this build is Mach Dash, which you get from PQ18 Force Entrance Exam. There really isn't any reason for having this move specifically, but if you do use it, you get a temporary speed boost. Finally, let's talk about the transformation, which for this build is Power Pole Pro. This build is very aggressive, so I always find myself getting caught in the moment during a battle and rarely ever transform with Potential Unleashed. So to take my focus off of getting my opponent away from me, I instead chose to use Power Pole Pro since it's a free cast and you're practically impossible to Stamina Break in that state since the initial pinwheel move after you transform knocks away anyone close. I'll cover the specifics of Power Pole Pro in my guide, so all I'll say for now is it's primarily here to make a match more interesting. Now, at long last, let's get to the awesome tricks of this build. These first few tricks pertain to my basic attack combos, how the chains go, and what I use to top them off. None of these end with the last hit of the 9 light attack or the 5 light 3 heavy combo, so you should have no problems with leaving yourself wide open at the end of a combo. All of these combos can be done when your opponent isn't stamina broken to bait them into using some stamina, but the big damage combos are better done when they are stamina broken. One more thing, I promise. These combos are going to look like infinite combos, which I know I've gone on record for saying I think they're cheap. As a reminder, these are what I refer to when I say infinite combos. Long story short, doing the same thing over and over is no different from spamming to me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. There are 3 step combos in each of these. The first is always 1 to 4 light attacks and 1 heavy attack. Afterwards, step towards your opponent to hit them with, and try to keep up, a charged heavy light heavy 3 light heavy combo. At this point, I change the combo in 3 different ways. One is to step towards your opponent, do a charged heavy 3 light combo, and another is to again step towards your opponent and do a charged heavy 4 heavy combo. Both of these combos can end with Earth Splitting Gallic Gun regardless of whether or not they're stamina broken, but if they are, you can add almost 2,000 more damage by using a fully charged Shining Slash, then following up with a throw. Doing this not only deals more damage, but it also takes less ki, as Earth Splitting Gallic Gun takes 2 bars and Shining Slash only takes 1. You might have noticed that I said 3 combos, but I only mentioned 2. That's because after the second step combo, instead of rushing in for another chain, simply activate Gravity Impact, use a fully charged Shining Slash, then finish with a throw. It doesn't deal as much damage as the previous 2 combos, and unfortunately takes 2 bars of ki to complete, but it's one of the flashiest combos in this build and makes for an awesome finisher for a match. The last set of tricks will involve my 2 ultimates, specifically Meteor Burst. Setting up Meteor Burst itself isn't that big of a deal. The easiest way is with either the Pinwheel Punch or the Beatdown, then using Meteor Burst, but you don't need a heavy stamina break to land the move. After using either a light stamina break or using a charged heavy attack when they're transforming, blocking, or using an ultimate, do a 1 to 4 light 3 heavy combo, use a bar of stamina to vanish next to your opponent, then use the quick version of Meteor Burst. After Meteor Burst is finished, there are a number of things that you can do if your opponent remains stamina broken. The first thing you can do is do a knockback attack into Earth Splitting Gallic Gun, or if you want more damage and less ki consumption, Shining Slash into a throw. You can also activate Gravity Impact immediately after Meteor Burst, then follow up with the Shining Slash throw combo. Finally, if you have 6 bars of ki, after Meteor Burst finishes, activate Blue Hurricane as quickly as possible. It's not going to hit very hard, and the camera can be a bit disorienting, but if your opponent walks away from Meteor Burst with less than half of a health bar left, then it makes for a pretty stylish finish to a match. But in all seriousness, if you want a cool ultimate to follow Meteor Burst, then Dead End Rain is pretty cool. Okay, now that was the last build for all my characters. Before we wrap this up, if you remember back in my previous Universe 2 build, I mentioned that I was deciding between starting with the same sequence of characters starting with my female Saiyan, or if I should just pick a random build and say fuck it. Well, we're going the fuck it route. The next build after this one will be another key blasting Arcosian build that I call the Ball Family build. And you have no idea how long I've wanted to make a video on it because it's one of the most entertaining builds I've ever made. I don't mean to overhype it, but I am super proud of this one, so look forward to that, and I'll see you in the next video.